Hello, welcome back to the daily Transcontinental Race updates. We're now to day 4, flying by. So let's head over to the tracker and have a little look to see what's been going on. And as you can see now, 4 days in, 3 and a bit days in, 3 days, 21 hours, 16 minutes as I record. And the front of the race is starting to spread a little bit, although in the grand scheme of the TCR, it's still fairly close. And as you can see, Nicolas Chatelet, he's still leading the race, and he's kind of he had reached or pushed a bit of a gap out overnight, but he actually didn't sleep last night, or he slept a very short amount of time. So this morning he had a substantial gap. Martin Moritz, he's still second place at the moment, and then Victor Bozzoni, Kristoff Strasser, and David Chan, I think that's how you say it, are kind of filling out the top 5 there. Justinas Levejka, he's slowed down a little bit, dropped off the pace a bit, but it's quite difficult to see at the moment because there are a couple of routes. So you can see some of the riders are heading more south. So if I just put Nicholas's track on, you can see he's taken more of a southern route, and a couple of the riders have done this. And then, for example, Kristoff, he's gone a little bit more northerly. So you can see that there's kind of two ways to approach the problem here. We quite often see this on the Transcontinental Race, that there's different ways depending on maybe different strengths or weaknesses, or maybe just a different interpretation of the route. One thing to look out for on this section here between Gap and Briançon, you can see the section here where Nicholas is. So there is actually a banned road. So if we zoom in, this N64, is it 94? I think it's 94. That's actually banned. However, it looks like there is a side road that riders are taking. The other alternative involves a bit of a sort of circular ride around to the north, which would be a lot flatter but longer. So yeah, it may or may not. Some riders may or may not take that, but so far it looks like there's 2 routes. Again, slightly probably a little bit flatter on the south here, or looping around to the north, depending on the rider's choice. So I'll dig into the women's race as well in a second. First up, I just need to say a big thank you to POC. As you probably know by now, they are sponsoring my coverage. They're also sponsoring the TCR. They also sponsor some of the World Tour teams. EF Education, you may have seen them in the Tour de France with their kind of standout bright pink helmets. Range of really cool stuff. Obviously time trial stuff, aero stuff, maybe not quite so relevant for the TCR, but they do sponsor a few riders in the race as well. So Cynthia Carson, who we'll hear from in a second, she's just started wearing the newly launched Sightel Light helmet. So this debuted at the Tour de France. As you can see, it's kind of a semi-aero design with a few more vents in it. So you can check out Cynthia and see that in action. It's 200 grams or there or thereabouts, depending on sizing. So super lightweight, a little bit of an aero element to it. And it's got really good airflow. So very similar to the Sightel that I showed you a couple of days back, but with a few more vents in. Really comfy. I get on with it really well. So definitely worth checking out. There's a 20% discount code available. I'll put the link up on the screen, or check it out in the description below. A big thank you to POC for supporting what I'm doing and their support of the actual race itself as well, and a number of riders out there. Nice one, POC. Right. Let me head back to the Follow My Challenge page, and let's focus a little bit more now on the women's race. So remember, this year there's a record women's field, really strong field as well. And up front at the moment, last year's winner Jana Kessenheimer, she's been leading pretty much from the start. She's got a bit of a gap at the moment over Cynthia Carson. Again, in the grand scheme of the TCR, it's probably not that massive. It's 3-4 hours, but anything can change. You can see here where she slept, 3.5 hours sleep for her. She's ahead of Cynthia. This is the first time for TCR for Cynthia, but she has won the Atlas Mountain race before, and things like Unbound XL, like the bigger gravel races over in the US. So she's super strong. And Lael Wilcox as well. Let me just put Lael's route up. So she took a bit of an interesting alternative way. She seems to be taking the scenic route in a lot of respects. And I think she said that she's here to enjoy herself, but a lot of people went either north or south of the Pyrenees, but she went bang through the middle and kind of looped around. Now, I'm not sure, maybe it was like the shortest way by distance, but I suspect that it probably was, well, it would have been a fair bit hillier. She had a 5-hour sleep the other night, but yeah, she's super strong as well. So Lael, I've raced against her myself. You can never rule Lael out, and she's in the mix at the moment. And you know, this whole race could come together. And remember as well, there's the ferry. If you saw my preview, you'll know that the ferry from Bari, way down Italy, probably 2 or 3 days time, it goes twice a day. So that tiny little gap that could be very, very easily shut, and that's for them, like, applies to both the men's and the women's race as well. So yeah, Lael doing an awesome job. Jamie Wilson, she's in 4th position again. She's really not too far off the pace. She disappeared off the tracker the other day. I think she had tracker issues, but they seem to have been resolved now. So yeah, Jamie's doing an awesome ride. Obviously, she's won the women's race here before. So yeah, it's looking really exciting all over. Esha Lloyd, I think she's been having a few knee issues. We saw some of her Instagram stories yesterday, but she seems to be, rolling along okay. She's out through the checkpoint now and onto the flatlands, so that might give her a bit of a chance to recover her knee. So yeah, keep an eye on that as we go along. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty exciting race, I think, as the riders head into the Alps. With that in mind, let's just go over to the Riber GPS. These are all the checkpoints and then the parcours I've got on here. And you can see currently the riders are heading kind of, I was going to say this gap between the mountains through Gap towards Briançon, and this leads to Sestriere and the start of the Strada della Asieta. If you go back to my preview video, you can see a bit of footage there that I took last year. Now this is a very similar run-in from when I did this race in 2015. So I went back. This was TCR number 3. Seems like quite a long time ago now. And you can see from this map, it was a bit of a different course. Obviously, until this year, the races mainly sort of started in the north of Europe. And in 2015, it finished in Istanbul. However, the section we're on now, this is kind of a bit irrelevant. So the checkpoint was on Mont Ventoux. So some of the riders are passing close to Mont Ventoux, as we'll see on some social media in a second. But I ended up going through here. Actually, I went on the road which is now banned, so the N94. Back in the day, I sound pretty old now, but there weren't the banned roads. Pretty much, you could do whatever you wanted within reason, within like legal reason. So I rode the N94. Basically, the thinking then was just do the biggest road you can. The banned roads, sometimes they're for safety, sometimes there's just because there's a really nice cycling road next to this, in this case it's N94. It makes it more scenic, more pleasant, and better for a rider. But yeah, back in 2015, I basically went straight down this main road to Briançon, up over the climb. I think I slept somewhere in this valley somewhere. I remember sleeping in an orchard. I basically slept outside a lot of the time on TCR that year. I was a lot younger, probably a lot more stupid. I just didn't care. And then the riders will go through Briançon. Pretty much every rider, I would have thought, would go through Briançon. Through Mont, up and over, there's a bit of a climb. Then there's, in this long high valley, Montgenèvre. Missed the tunnel down here. I got a penalty because I ended up in the tunnel in 2015, but there's a side road for the cyclists. And then you climb up to Sestriere where you begin the parcours. So you can see that in better detail here on Riber GPS if I can get to the start of it. But I suspect riders will be taking that on now. Certainly the lead riders will be taking that on tomorrow now. So yeah, maybe some of them will get to Briançon. We'll see how it goes. It's 4:30 here in the UK, so 5:30 local time. So I suspect they'll be going another 6-7 hours tonight. So yeah, plenty to go on. Talking of sleeping, I just wanted to look at the analytics. There's some interesting kind of stats now, and they tend to get a bit more accurate as the further we go on. So Nicolas Châtelet, 9 hours 48, so 11% stop time. He's stopped quite a bit. Martin Moritz, he's at the least amount of stop time from the leaders, only 8%. And then Victor, 10%. Again, he's cutting sleep quite a bit. Justinus and Kristoff Strasser around 15%. So yeah, we're beginning to see kind of patterns, who's riding faster during the day and who's maybe sleeping more. And then the moving speed. I mean, Nicolas Châtelet, he's quite a bit faster than everyone else when he's moving, but he did miss a night's sleep. And if we go down to the graph here, I'll go to the top 3 because that's probably a bit more accurate. Hopefully my internet's working a bit better today, and you can see that you can't see now. It never works when you want to. Basically, you can see that he missed a night's sleep. So yeah, he basically, there it is there. I'm always battling with Follow My Challenge, but yeah, maybe take some time to kind of check this out at the bottom of the analytics yourself if you want to, and you can see that Nicholas basically missed last night's sleep, and he confirmed that on social media, which we'll go on to in a second. So yeah, first off, I've got a voice note from Cynthia Carson. She's in second position in the women's race, as we mentioned. So I'll find her on the map, and then we can just listen to Cynthia's take on what happened in the Pyrenees once I've stopped spinning the map around. So that's a track there, and this is what Cynthia had to say last night.
Hello. From the Obisque, Cynthia Carson here. 2K from the top. I am watching the sunset into a swirl of clouds. It's quite beautiful. And having a great evening. I've got the little bit of the Obisque, the small Solor, and then the Tourmalet for parcours number 2. And we'll see how far I get tonight. It's 9 p.m. on, I think it's Wednesday. Everything's going well. Finally done with Spain, into France, and first proper meal at the top of the Portelet. Needed some food. Because I figure when I drop down from the Solor, everything will be closed. So yeah, we'll see how far I get this evening. May get up in the middle of the night to climb the Tourmalet. And yeah, I'll update you in the coming days.
So that's Cynthia. Sounds like she's enjoying herself, which is first and foremost the most important thing on this race. And yeah, it seems like she's pretty in control, stopping for food, making sensible decisions, and sitting in a solid second position overall at the moment. So yeah, she's doing really great, and it's good to hear from Cynthia. So let's head over to some social media, and we'll start with the Transcontinental Race. They again, I've said it before, they've got some fantastic photographers, and just look at this. This is spectacular. I'm not sure the pass, is it Tourmalet possibly? But regardless, look at that light in the mountains. It probably doesn't work so well if you're listening on the podcast, but on YouTube, certainly you can see this, or check out the Transcontinental Race on Instagram. But yeah, it looks absolutely spectacular. And then we just heard from Cynthia. So this is Cynthia at the top of the climb. Obviously, she got up there, must have been at first light this morning. So it's going to be pretty cold, up at that kind of altitude. I think it's about just over 2,000 meters, 4,000 meters. So yeah, she's wrapped up warm, ready to descend. The first pair to arrive as well. So that's Matthew Garthwaite and Oliver Hayward. That's photos of those guys. They're actually riding pretty strongly as a pair. It's not necessarily faster riding as a pair. There's normally means there's twice as many problems you can have as riding solo, but also you do get the benefit of being able to support each other. There's Leo smiling as always, and yeah, Leo heading off, must be down the descent there. And yeah, this cafe at the top looks like it's done some good business. I think Le Manger is the ski resort, not quite at the top of the Tourmalet, but quite high up. So I'd imagine quite a lot of riders have stopped in there to basically make the most of the the facilities while they can. And that's Jana Kessenheimer, who is our current women's leader, smiling as always and looking really strong. So yeah, good to see Jana. And then I think that's Jamie. I can't quite tell actually. Maybe not. Maybe not. Definitely not Jamie. Sorry, Jamie, if you heard this. It's Pablo Villarribi. So yeah, he's on the top there. So yeah, awesome to see these photos and get a bit of insight into what's going on the ground there. Next up, I said about April Drage yesterday after scratching, and she put up an Instagram post just explaining what happened, and it sounds like she was having a great time, but she had a very minor slip on some front wheel on some gravel, just tumbled off her bike, said there's not a scratch on her, and then realised that she couldn't pull with her left hand. So it sounds like she's probably broken something, so she can't continue. She's got to head home. It's pretty gutting, really, having trained so hard for a race like this, and then travelled from the other side of the world, from Australia as well. It's pretty disappointing. But yeah, hopefully April will get well soon. And yeah, I'm sure we'll see her back at another point. Another post, this was Martin Moritz. Obviously he's in second at the moment, and this just gives a bit of an insight as to the conditions down there. So extremely hot in the south of France at the moment, and he's putting the ice pops down his neck. Cooling is key. So yeah, just ice creams are great. You can shove them down your neck, cool down, and then drink them after. So that looks like what Martin's doing at the moment.
Guten Morgen von der französischen Mittelmeerküste. Heute hat leider alles ein bisschen länger gedauert. Auch gestern Abend. Die Abläufe sind jetzt schon ein bisschen langsamer.
So yeah, just a translation.
Böse Zungen werden behaupten,
I think basically everything's slowing down
Neues
for him.
Bei mir, aber es ist noch mal schlimmer. Jetzt, als ich gerade raus bin aus dem Hotel, das war eher so eine Ferienwohnung, habe ich festgestellt, wie direkt eigentlich der Weg war zu dieser Umgehungsstraße, auf der ich jetzt wieder bin. Gestern Abend habe ich ewig umgesucht, bis ich den Eingang gefunden habe. Ja, deswegen war es schon ganz gut, auch wenn ich mich jetzt nicht extrem müde gefühlt habe.
So basically, just summarize, if you can't see the subtitles there, I think basically it's just saying that it's just getting harder and harder, and you do slow down. 3-4 days in, this is when it tends to bite. I always find on these ultras, day 3 or day 4, you tend to have a bit of a bad day. I think it's where your body's kind of finally realizing this is what you're going to be doing for the next week or so, and everything just gets a little bit harder. But then after that point, things do seem to improve as everything levels out, and you just get used to sort of less food, just moving all day. So I'm pretty certain that's what he'll be experiencing. And remember, we looked at the run rate, and he's probably slept the most out of everyone. So yeah, Kristoff Strasser, he's always good for an update, and he's certainly kind of a benchmark for what we could probably consider the front of the race. Obviously, there's a few guys ahead of him, but he's very consistent and tends to be quite even throughout the race. So if you're around Kristoff, you're doing pretty well. So let's hear what he had to say this morning.
The Pyrenees were super hard, and now it was a little bit flat in southern France. Now it's getting hilly again, and I hope to make it to Carcassonne. I didn't do as many miles, as many kilometers as I hoped for today, but I think nobody did. It was hot, it was a lot of climbing, and it was just really hard. But now you can enjoy this.
So yeah, deceptively lumpy in that southern part of France, even if you're not necessarily in the mountains. And again, Kristoff said the heat really does impact you. So yeah, and lots of wind as well by the looks of it. So the Mistral is the wind down south. It's quite famous. It looks like it's really blowing there. Busier road, headwind, slight incline. It's not necessarily the nicest place to ride a bike, but unfortunately on the TCR you do get taken to these places sometimes. So yeah, that was Kristoff earlier today, and yeah, but he's still going on nicely. He seems to be riding pretty consistently, riding over the Rhone there. That's the big river. So yeah, he's is doing great. So yeah, I look forward to hearing more from Kristoff as the race progresses. And then I thought I'd finish with Nicholas. Obviously, he's out front. And he's put a series of stories out, which
Salut à tous.
I'll play a little bit for you. I'll play it in the background. So basically, he's put these stories out, and I've got them translated. So you may remember yesterday he'd recorded his plan for each day and was posting that on social media. So essentially, what he's saying is that that's all gone out the window. So it's quite often this happens. You kind of think you sat at home, you plan the exact circumstances you're going to have happen, and then you end up 2 or 3 days it's totally out the window, and that's what's happened to him now. He didn't sleep last night. I do wonder if that might bite him later, and it does look like the gap's closed on the others as the day's gone on. And he was talking about trying to pick up a package in Carcassonne from the post office, so I do wonder if he got that or if he missed it. I suspect that would have been a load of energy food. So yeah, he's out front. He's looking tired. On the pass, I think it's Dead Man's Pass, I think it's the translation. And he's saying he's feeling like he was dead. So yeah, I mean, he's out front at the moment. I do wonder if he's gone out too hard. We'll see. Time will tell. If you can start at that pace and hold it, then you deserve everything. You deserve it. You deserve the gap, and you deserve to do well. But I just think it might come back together. For me, the race doesn't really start till this Parkour 3, the Strada de Azietta, and then the slog across the north of Italy, the Po Valley, and then this is going to be quite a hard, undulating section through Italy, and then of course the big ferry question. So it's a risk, maybe he's got a plan. Nicholas could be aiming for a certain ferry, and if he's the only one to get it, then essentially the race is his through the Balkans. But he could waste a lot of energy, miss the ferry, and then have to sit at the dock for 12 hours. So yeah, there's going to be some really interesting stuff happening in the next few days. So yeah, let's see what happens. And obviously I'll be coming back with updates over the next few days. So thanks as always for watching. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you've not done so already and you like what I'm doing. And thanks again for watching or listening on the podcast. See you again tomorrow.